line is my co-host Dan. Dan, welcome back. How have you been?
Thank you. Doing well, thanks. I'm looking forward to talking about some footy today.
You've been hiking, you've been camping and canoeing in the country, so like really a real man of nature. How's that been?
Oh, it's been great. I know here in British Columbia, it's quite different than where you live, Haglo. It's we have quite a bit of the backcountry access here, and so it's easy to find a place that's free of people and a place where you can just get outside for a little bit. It's been really nice.
That sounds, yeah, I am stuck in the city, and I gotta tell you, not would not recommend at the moment, but happy to be
Yeah.
healthy.
What have you been doing to kind
Um,
of pass the time to break up the monotony?
I've actually been quite busy with work, so mostly really trying to find a little space to do nothing, which is greatly disappointing, but still working on some yoga, but generally nothing too exciting just yet. But we might have some news for our listeners in the coming weeks, so stay tuned.
Awesome, sounds good.
So we want to begin today's show with some housekeeping. That is to say, like some roundup of all, now that football is back in not all the leagues, but a number of major leagues. We wanted to do a quick review or really just discussion on what's
Exactly.
been going on around the football world before we get into our main topic of the day. What's happening with our K-League teams?
Yeah, on that note, isn't it nice to actually have a few different leagues to talk about, hey? I mean, it was just yesterday, it felt like where obviously there was no footy, and generally speaking, it seems like most leagues have doing okay with as far as staving off the spread and all that. So it's great to talk about different leagues and different stories. But yeah, Glow, our K-League teams actually played each other this past week.
Oh, that's really exciting. Do tell for our listeners who might not remember
Yeah.
who our teams are, I suppose.
For sure. So Glow, we picked FC Seoul for you, which is actually one of the bigger clubs in Korea, in South Korea there. So I have the Suwon Blue Wings, and they played each other to a 3-3 draw this past week. And it was a big match because we're neck and neck. Unfortunately, we're both in down the table. So you're in ninth and
Yeah.
I'm in 10th.
Yeah, really down in the bottom. I was
Yeah.
like, I was supposed to get a good team, a good
I
team that
know.
we don't have to worry about it. I'm just having to stave off like
Yeah.
this playoff zone situation. You know, when you look at a table and you're in the red, and it's like, it doesn't feel good, you know?
I know, because it's only a 12-team league, so ninth and 10th, we have a better goal difference than you. You have -12, we're -3, but we're both struggling, we're floundering, but hopefully we can pick up some form here.
Yeah, one can only hope. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll keep you guys updated on our many teams that we have adopted over the course of lack of football. But
Exactly.
that's what's happening. What it has been exciting though has been the return of La Liga and really Real Madrid like turning on like full engine and like we
Yes.
forget how far behind Real Madrid was at this point last year and like the real
Exactly.
turnaround that Zidane has on the team. And now they're top of the table, 4 points clear of Barca, and it looks like, you know, all things go up according to plan, they will be lifting the trophy this season, which
Yep.
is like absolutely remarkable.
Not that we needed any more proof, but I think it just again is showing Zidane's quality as a manager, hey?
It's crazy because he's one of those managers, despite winning 3 back-to-back Champions Leagues, that we still, or a fair amount of people still talk about and ask
Yep.
about what his coaching credentials and coaching style is. And it is not as easy
Exactly.
to define as a Pep, a Klopp, that this, that, and the other. So I do get that. But his trophy cabinet really does speak to himself. So he must be doing something, right?
I agree. And yeah, I think like you said, right? Because he went right to Real Madrid and people, oh, well, anyone could coach and manage those, a group of that quality and have success. But I think, the fact that he's come back in again and they're now in the lead, I think it just speaks again. We're dealing with someone here, I think, who not only was a brilliant footballer, but I think he's got what it takes, obviously, to be a brilliant manager too.
Yeah, that it's like really exciting, and of course, even more exciting is Messi got his 700th goal, which is an absurd thing to say about a single player,
Oh my
and he got
gosh,
there in
incredible!
fewer games than Ronaldo. And the only reason I mention this is
Yes,
because I know Ronaldo would be petty about this, and thus it must be mentioned.
he would.
He
He
definitely would
would.
be.
Credit to
It's just
Messi. Yeah, yeah. Once again, though, hey, Messi is just carrying his team. It seems like every year.
I mean, there are, at least in the Spanish newspapers, just constant conversation about like the board and like the leadership and like the relationship with Kike Setien. It doesn't seem like it's going too well, and I think like the mismanagement that a lot of like authors and a lot of people had been talking about at Barcelona is like really brimming to the top. So that's also been a very interesting sideshow, and it's obviously now compounded with the fact that they are at risk of losing the La Liga title
Mm-hmm.
after being knocked out of the Champions League, of course.
Yeah, could be another failed season, especially after all the money that they spent. I was reading an article just the other day listing off all the different signings that they've made in the past, whatever it was, 4 to 5 years, and it totaled to over €1 billion, right? And it's just staggering the amount of money that they've spent. And not a lot of these players have worked out.
Yeah, their transfer policy is not doing too well. I guess I would say would be my humble opinion, especially given how. I mean, it makes me really sad because I thought he had such great promise. Like Usman Dembele doesn't seem to have worked out. I mean,
Yes.
Griezmann after this weekend, it looks like he might be like starting to fit in, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like they've quite ironed down where all these big names are going to fit,
Oh, I know.
which is disappointing for a club of their stature.
Yeah, and then you get the random starting, like Braithwaite there, and last year I think it was Kevin Prince Boateng, right? They always have like an
Oh yeah,
annual
like
kind of random signing.
it's like like I feel like it's that annual pro bono signing. You know what, like a
Yes.
charity,
Pro
just like it's like
bono.
you're the okay, I apologize to
I love
so
it.
many
I
people
love
that I
it.
just offended, but it just like I mean like no offense to Kevin Prince Boateng, he is like a fine football player, but you know what I mean, like he wasn't on many people's
Yeah.
like number one priority list to go to Barcelona. So I feel like they always have one of those that's like, completely out of left field, and
Yeah.
as an outsider,
Totally.
I'm just like greatly enjoy it. But as someone who is more invested in the club, I guess I can see how you're asking, just like, where are coins going? You know?
Yes. Exactly. No,
Right.
I
Which
hear
is
you. So what's going on with Serie A?
Um, not much that is particularly surprising, which
Yeah.
is disappointing for me to say. I mean, I think we expected a bit more of a title challenge from Inter, but
Inter
I
is
think that
stacked on paper. Like, what's going
yeah.
on?
I mean, as they're known, Menu B, just given how many Menu players are Inter, hilarious,
Yeah.
greatly enjoy it. But they're in third, and like we have like Lazio in second, and it seems pretty much that Juve is going to wrap up the title, and the top four are pretty set. I think it's Inter, Lazio, Atalanta, who are a dream to watch. Like, would
Mm-hmm.
recommend if you're anyone who wants to get
Such
into
fun
Serie A,
football.
just
Yeah.
a great club to get into from the get go. Really exciting players and work happening on that front.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Love
in terms
watching a
of
team
no
that's
title
not,
changer there.
just full of. Yeah, completely agree. Not watching a team that's not necessarily full of just expensive signings, but a team that just works so well as a unit together.
Yeah, I think what's been a bit disappointing to me has been Napoli. And perhaps, I suppose, if you look at the team, you wouldn't be too surprised. But it's that kind of like, I expected Napoli to be good, or like at least to be more competitive than it has been. But I think they've lost two of their last matches, I would say. And that
Yeah.
just, they've been. Mm, Do you ever watch? There's this line in Clueless. I'm just like, I know you can be underwhelmed and you can be overwhelmed. Can you ever just be whelmed? And I feel like that's Napoli for me this season. I'm just like whelmed.
Yeah.
So that
Like they're
is
in
my
sixth.
watch for
They're in
them.
sixth. They're in sixth. They're not really fighting for the title. They might limp into Europa. That's about it.
It's yeah. I'm not sure if that can lip into you. Oh yeah, perhaps Europa. Yeah, but yeah, because they're pretty on. They're only in the sixth on goal differential beneath Roma. Uh,
Yeah.
so so they could theoretically make it into Europa, which would be good. But it seems like the top four are pretty sealed up, and it's just a question of
Yeah,
like
that's all
where
settled. Yeah.
2, 3, and 4 like end up in the shuffle. But I really
I
can't
am interested
emphasize
for
enough
next
that if you
year.
have a chance, go ahead, go
I
ahead,
am
Darren.
interested for next year in how Inter will do because I hope to see more of a title challenge, like you're saying. They just signed Hakimi from Dortmund, so they were managed to get that guy's signature, and obviously starting from the same point of each, the same date, Inter squad will be a lot more dialed in. I think next season.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see. I mean, obviously, the rumor mill is must be noted. The rumor mill. There's like some signings surrounding them. There is a note of potentially Gabriel Jesus linked with them, but I'm not sure if they're gonna shell out the sticker price of 70 mil that Man City has slapped on him.
Yeah.
Um, but so they are in the market to improve, and I think I'm looking forward to what Antonio Conte can do with this slot. Provided that he wants to keep Alexis Sanchez, please do. Thank you.
How much does he make a week?
It is an absurd amount of money. I think it makes my head hurt. I can't conceive of making that much money, but good on him. Get you a good contract. So good on him and his
Yeah,
agent to
exactly.
yeah. It's absolutely nuts, some of these numbers. But then you also think about like in order to be able to pay somebody that much amount of money, you need to be making significantly more. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's going on at DC United, Glow? Is there? I know, like here, Vancouver Whitecaps. A lot of obviously pictures and videos and all that of their training, and the players are getting fit again. Do you see DC United making a bit of a push this season, and when they finally get to this restart tournament, whenever it starts?
Uh, I really always have some trouble speaking on DC United because they truly run hot and cold. They will have like some like really fine, like I would say last season we had like the team had an incredible like second half of the season. And I understand like part of it obviously could be attributed to home advantage given how many games they are playing at home after they open the stadium. But
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
that is all to say, I don't know. Like, I don't think they know. So,
Yeah. Fair enough. How
yeah.
much of a loss was it to lose Wayne Rooney?
Frankly, I think the loss is felt more on the commercial side. And obviously, don't get me wrong,
I
he's like
see.
wonderful talent and he like elevated the team and play. But in my opinion, if the league wants to become a good, like proper selling league, I think they need to like invest more in like local
Of
talent that they
course.
can
Yeah.
further sell. So, but I do understand like Wayne Rooney did like wonderful things for like bringing in like
Mm-hmm.
people who normally wouldn't go see MLS games
Yeah.
to DC United. So that is in itself valuable. But I think for a long term scheme, I think just investing locally and like good scouting would be
Yeah.
my
On that note,
recommendation.
it's amazing. He might actually be able to pull Derby back into the English Premier League next season. I think they're in seventh right now in the
I
championship,
know,
and he
yeah.
just
Then
scored
the
another beautiful free kick the other week there. And I think he might do it. He might be back in the Premier League. How amazing would that be?
That would be so fun. I truly wish like the best for him,
Me
and I
too.
think it would just be delightful, and I imagine a lot of like football journalists are like really salivating at like all the narratives, like the low hanging fruit narratives that are right there if he can return. So for all of us, I would wish for Derby to come through. But number one, I need to see Marcelo Bielsa. Like, as even as a United fan, I just want to see Marcelo Bielsa in the Prem because he's a character. I mean, how do you now want
He is.
more of that?
Oh,
He's
absolutely.
delightful.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's awesome. I mean, he's done a little world tour. He went off to the States, he's returned now to Derby, and I think it'd be great to see him find his way back. And he's playing a new position, right? I think he's playing basically like a center defensive mid or center mid. Which is, and he's still pinging the long balls across the pitch, right? So he could get it done.
Good, yeah, good evolution to his game, I'd say. But the one other thing I wanted to note on the return of football is the return of women's football in the US. The NWSL is hosting a month-long tournament in Utah. However, it is important to know that Orlando is not in it because on the onset at the beginning of the tournament, six like players and stuff tested positive, or the results were inconclusive, which following protocol means
Is that right, eh?
yeah, it means like they then have to go into quarantine, so the schedule had to be readjusted. But what's really important to note are two things I would say. There's more sponsorship for the NWSL this time around, which this is the first time I think you can see this entire tournament on cable TV. And for the US, it's like CBS, and for international viewers, it's on Twitch, I believe. But yeah, it's been really
Interesting.
cool.
Okay.
Like a bit more sponsorship, more bigger names like Verizon. You have like your Budweisers, you have your P&G, like really big names throwing not as much as they throw at men's football, but like for NWSL standards, substantial amount of money, which has been really good.
That's awesome.
So that's been exciting to watch, and definitely just give it a look if you have some time. It's like very available, and it's like really cool to see. I've been fascinated watching Lynn Williams and Debinha, who looks like the heir apparent to Brazil's Marta. So it's been lovely.
Wow. What's your favorite team in that league?
I mean, I'm DC based, so I would say the Spirit are my team, who were tentative contenders, but after their game against the North Carolina Courage, who are truly the team to beat, it seems like there's some ways to go. There's a bit of difference in quality, a decent gap in quality between the two teams. So yeah, but it's good to know that they are on the rise, and some of
That's awesome.
the off the field conditions are marginally getting better.
Yeah. So for me, as much as it kind of pains me because the Portland Timbers are obviously a massive Cascadia rival here for Vancouver Whitecaps, but my team is probably Portland Thorns because Christine Sinclair, who I should note is the top scoring women's footballer of all time for any national team. She just
Oh, that's
passed.
awesome.
Yep, she just passed Abby Wambach this last year, so she's got more goals for Team Canada than any other player for their national squad, which is a pretty amazing feat given that Canada doesn't have a lot of firepower usually. But anyway, she plays for Portland Thorns, so she's still playing. She's had a long career, and we're hoping that she'll be in the next women's. I think she's probably going to retire after the next Olympics. So whenever that is.
Yeah, there's a good colleague from school who is on the Portland Thorns as well. So I
No
through
way.
that. So there's a soft spot for the Thorns as well in my heart, which is lovely.
Oh, no way. Maybe we
And
should arrange an interview.
that would be lovely. We should definitely look into that. And with that, we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back with some chat about Manchester United.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Given the recent rise in form of Manchester United, it just seemed completely fitting that we spend some time chatting about the Red Devils. Glow, obviously, you're a massive Red Devils fan. I couldn't help but make sure that we spent some time about that and talked about your favorite club here. How are they doing lately? I tell you.
We're doing well. I think we're 14 or 15 matches undefeated in all competitions, which is always longest run in form so far. and
Okay.
I think we beat the 5-2 win against the Cherries was our first like 5 goals at home in something ridiculous like 9 years. So the last time that happened,
Wow.
Alex Ferguson was a manager. Sir Alex Ferguson, my apologies.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's been a good time to be a Man U fan given a lot of not so good years recently.
Yeah, you guys have had to work hard to get back to this level. So, I mean, good for Ole. I mean, they've repaid the faith in him. Do you feel like his job is secure right now?
I think so. I am personally of the mind I have been for a bit is that I think we should give him time. I don't think that there's
Yeah.
quite a quick fix to like the management. It sounds like he might not have been coming in like the most impressive like manager on paper and his resume, but he really does get the club. And more than anything, he seems to me to want to be able to get a support staff that will fill in the gaps and
Okay.
like get a really good group of people around him. So
Yes.
for me that was like really important that you have a manager who doesn't just want to run the show by the entire themselves and who is happy to get qualified people to assist him.
Yep. No, I agree. And speaking obviously as a fan of my club, I mean, don't do what we've done and just fire everyone left and right as soon as the form turns south. Like it just does not help.
Yeah, this is why I'm a huge proponent of honestly having transfer windows for coaches. Again, this is like my big football revolution idea, and I'm sure like people have talked about
Going
it in
back
the
to the hot takes
past.
episode, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but really think like managers should be given a substantial amount of time, and I also think clubs should be smarter in recruiting. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be something to be said about just giving them time. And I know that big clubs like yourself, with Manchester United, the demand for success right now, is massive. And to put yourself back in the conversation of winning titles and winning trophies, I get that. But I mean, look at him now. He's doing great. So of course, it does beg some questions. But first of all, a little background glow. How did you become a Man U supporter? Like, what's the backstory here?
I frankly do not like remember a particular day when I woke up and I was like, I'm going to be a Man U fan, but I like grown up around soccer my entire life, and one of my uncles who I grew up around is a huge Man U fan, and I just every single time he was watching a game, I was attached to him on the hip. So it's very much that like this relationship that I had with a number of members in my family who are huge Man U
Okay.
fans, like very much
Yeah,
transferred to me, in that I didn't really have a say in it. So,
that's
and
awesome.
then when I became quasi-conscious human being, I was like, okay, I guess this is the team I've only been watching, so here we are.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, but there wasn't a light bulb moment that I just picked the team as much as I grew up around it, around people who
Yeah,
supported it, and it was a huge part of our relationship. And slowly, it also became my own.
that's awesome. And so, like, do you have any greatest memories of supporting this club over the
It's
years?
I few, I would say. I mean, it goes without saying for a lot of Man U fans, right? Like the '99 season, like it's such a huge deal. But I was a toddler. I was like in diapers. I was like 3 years
Yeah.
old at the time. So, I mean, I've rewatched it and I greatly appreciated that. And I see why people that like to have been an adult or like somebody who knows what's going on watching that would have been remarkable, but since I didn't, I think like more of my
Mm-hmm.
memories and that are more having more emotional value to me with the club come a little bit later. I specifically think of the 0708 Champions League final with against Chelsea. I think it was in Moscow, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I remember watching that with like my uncles, like my cousins, and like basically an entire family, and there were like two Chelsea fans, and this whole game like goes into pen like it was really it had everything. You had like
Yes.
You had a Ronaldo opening goal. A beauty. You had like Drogba being sent off for slapping. Won't you get it? Emmanuel Bender just like what? It was
Oh
like
my
all
gosh.
the absurdity that you would really like, and then you have like
Yes.
missed penalties. You have like truly like it had all the drama, and it also was a time when I decided I just can't watch penalties. It was just no. It was yeah, it was a lot. I just would
Even to this day, do you have a hard time watching penalty shootouts?
yeah, I mean, I do the thing where I like close my eyes and but also try to look through them and lay in a fetal position. So, so I'm not sure if we could qualify that as watching, but like I do that, and
Oh, I totally hear
and
ya.
I always try to cheat and see if the penalty went in. And I do this especially like in the World Cup or like big things. I will like keep refreshing my phone and be like, okay, let me know how it went. Did it make it? I just can't do
Yeah.
penalties.
Yeah.
I don't have the constitution for it.
Oh, I know. Ever since I think the first time I felt that actually was when Asamoah Gyan stood up to take that penalty, and if he had scored, it was like the 120th minute or something in extra time. Luis Suarez had just
I'm not over
handballed
that.
for Uruguay. I'm still exactly right. So it would have been the first African country to get further than the round of 8, right? They would have made it to the semi,
Yeah.
and he hits the bar. He hits the
Oh
bar,
my
and
god.
it's just like
It was actually last week was like the anniversary, and like someone texted me about it and just like
heartbreaking.
this is like the anniversary. I'm just like, yeah, I think it's like 10 years later. I'm just like, yeah, I'm still not over it. I'm still bitter, and I
Still
just
not over it.
yeah, and I believe there's no statute of limitations to this particular grudge. So
And just like you said, I mean, when he stood up to take the second penalty in the shootout, he took the first PK for Ghana. Like, credit to him. Can you imagine the nerves that he had after just missing the one, whatever it was, like 10 minutes prior, and he has to set up again and take one in the penalty shootout. Credit to him, he slotted it. But that's when I think I first felt, wow, I see why people don't watch PKs anymore.
yeah, it was like absolutely dreadful. So it was that was like in 2010, and it was like right after just yeah, it was a whole host of just penalties are not fun to watch,
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
if I have like
So I
any skin in
digress.
the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, so I digress. Back to obviously Asamoah. He went to Sunderland, my club, but we're back to Man U here. I mean, did you ever have a chance to like go see a match or go to Old Trafford or anything like that?
Lovely. Yeah, actually, it was pre-pandemic the last time I was at Old Trafford, where like no one was like quite taking it seriously, and we were just like hanging on about. No one's wearing a mask, which is an absolutely absurd thing
Wow.
to think of now. And I was there for the Watford game, and I think it was a 3-0 win, which was absolutely lovely. And I was there for Bruno
Okay, so
Fernandes'
that was this
first
season.
goal as a penalty. Yeah, that was this season. And so basically what I'm saying is I
Wow.
am the good luck charm. The fact that I was there is the reason why everything is going well now. Duh. Like makes just all the right logical
Exactly.
leaps there. Apologize for the mental gymnastics you
Of
have to
course,
do
of
to end
course.
there. But yeah, it was
That's awesome.
absolutely
So you actually
lovely.
you saw Bruno's debut,
Yeah, his first goal anyway. Yeah, it was absolutely
first goal.
lovely.
Brilliant.
And I was like really sitting like pretty much like maybe 4 rows in, like behind the corner. So it was really lovely. And I gotta say, the pies
Brilliant.
were really solid, you know? And I was it was a very weird thing to notice. I just remember thinking it's like these are pretty good pies. They're just like
A pie and a
thinking
pint at halftime.
yeah, and I was like, "Oh, this is really nice." Just like these are good, and I'd
Love
been,
that.
like I think I'd been at the Spurs Leipzig game in the Champions League in London
Okay.
the week before. Oh, like that week, the week of or something, which was very dull. Um, is what I remember about it. I just remember the
Yeah.
stadium being really cool and
Yeah.
the rest of the game being incredibly dull. And I just remember thinking, man, I'm just like, I know we always said the English can't cook, but this is pretty good. Then I realized it
That's
was an
awesome.
Indian flavored
You know,
pie. So I was like,
I do love a good Cornish pasty, and just like you're saying, the only time I went to an EPL game actually was with a good buddy of mine in Liverpool. He's a big Liverpool fan. He's from Liverpool, and we went to a match together back in like 2006 or no, sorry, 2008, I think, and Boxing Day. And just like you said, we had the pasties, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. But actually when you think of like really good moments for your team, like I remember that, right? And obviously like all like my formative really good moments when I was past the age of 10. So like really nothing in the early 2000s when I was a little ding dong walking about the world. But
Yes.
I just remember last season, when the PSG away game, we were not like particularly good by any chance, but the drama of it was greatly entertaining. I was like, I didn't think we were gonna do well. And I was in Buenos Aires at the time, and I just remember watching it at this bar and just like losing my mind at all the drama that came with it.
Wow.
And then I think it was Barry Glendenning on the Football Weekly
He's
who said
hilarious.
who had to say is like this is only funny because it happened to PSG, and I was like I agree, we were not like really good by any chance, but it was just freaking hilarious if you're not a PSG fan.
That is so funny. And any favorite players over the years?
Um, well, it's strange to choose. Like, I mean, there's like the canonical favorite players that you watch is like delightful, but I think I've grown more of like a soft spot for. I really always enjoyed Nani. I thought he had
Of
some
course.
worldies. Jesus Christ. I'm
Yeah, amazing footballer. Yeah.
some just like truly amazing, like especially against Chelsea and Spurs. Now that I think about it, a fair amount of like really really beautiful goals went through. Van Persie phase because he was really banging them in left and
Oh,
right, like
incredible,
58 goals
incredible
over the
player.
course of
Yeah.
his time, I think.
I've always wondered what RVP could be, or in terms of like the numbers he could have put up if he just stayed healthy. Much like Aguero, I mean, both of them always played like half a season, three-quarters of a season. They'd still put up amazing numbers, but you always wonder what it would be like for them if they were able to stay healthy for entire years.
Yeah, like it was greatly. There's just a great amount of potential, and you always hope for players like that. It's just like, wow, boy, I wish this could be a little bit longer,
Yes.
and we could enjoy this level of talent so much more. But I think, I mean, Ronaldo is like an obvious one who had like some great times within. But I think he broke my heart in 2008. I get it. I totally get it. It was great for his career, blah, blah, blah. Get it.
Yeah.
But I think that was like one of like the first few times I was like truly attached to a player and what they would do, and I took it very very personally after that. And it was like I cannot believe you would do this, and it was like remembering that this is not really about me, but took it quite
Yeah.
personally. But today, very personally, I should say.
Oh, it's so funny.
But yeah,
I mean, would you ever have him back?
no. Just,
No.
no, just like no.
I love it.
Yeah, apparently it's like the hell hath no fury, like a woman scorned. I'm going to like really live up to that. I'm just like
Love
lovely,
it.
no, but also no.
Ronnie, if you're listening, sorry, mate, you're not welcome back, and you still broken some
Yeah,
hearts.
exactly. Executive
In the
decision. We've decided. But yeah,
So what's your
I would say today, a personal favorite is Marcus Rashford. I would say,
such a likable guy?
yeah, I think it's interesting. One, I think when I was thinking about this question, right, I had like obvious notable players that I've always caught my eyes that I followed. But I would say that part of it is we came of age at the same time. So I think like it was easier to like follow that trajectory of like a young person who's like making his way in the
Interesting.
world.
Yeah.
And I think I was reading, not reading, I was listening to this podcast and this discussion about how one of the really increasing factors in how millennials choose like brands and like teams, it is not always a fast factor, but it's a decent factor. It's the social aspect of teams and players.
Yes.
And I really did see that in the reason why, like, I would say, like, yeah, I would say he's like my favorite menu player. Is he's not just like a good footballer or like pretty great with like some awesome potential. He's also a
Mm-hmm.
very socially conscious guy, and I didn't realize
Oh,
how
it's
much I
amazing the work he's
valued
doing right now.
that until I had to like think of like who was actually my favorite player on this team.
No, I think that's right on point. I mean, watching what he's done in terms of the food program for the youth, it's brilliant.
Yeah, honestly, Our goal is to get him knighted by the end of his career. Just please go,
That's awesome.
please go sign my
Sir
petition.
Marcus Rashford.
Sign my petition on
Sir
the
Marcus.
Facebooks.
Oh, that sounds good. I love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Put the little sir on the back of his kit there. That's awesome. So, okay, as an international fan, we're both international fans of clubs in England, and we always have to kind of defend our position, don't we? So, tell me about that. Like, how's your experience been as an international fan of Manchester United?
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what you said. I think part of it is that football has to do with like locality. A lot of people are like born into like those areas, and that's the team that's around them, and thus they grow up supporting it. So I think like international fans who don't have that particular like immediate relationship always have to kind of like prove their chops, if you will, of like, I am not just like a casual fan, I'm just like as informed, I just don't live here. But so I think it's a series of that, but generally I've never like really had any trouble past that, and it's always been like a very welcoming space. And I think that a lot of football fans, once you show them that you know your stuff, they just generally get over it pretty quickly.
Yeah, I would say that's similar to my experience too. But that's good to hear. I mean, there's obviously a massive international following for Manchester United all over the globe. Which, on that note, when you're watching that match in Buenos Aires, was the pub that you're in, the establishment, mostly to do with Man U supporters, or was it a mix?
Yeah, it was a bit of a mix, really. Because I don't think like the English or like French teams are as big in South America as possible. Understandably, for many reasons like language and that general connectivity, they tend to gravitate towards the Liga. So it's more of a mixed bunch. I would say I was surrounded with like more neutrals than anything, who are like more excited to see about like the prospect of this game, especially after like the first 5 minutes garnered more interest. But I didn't think
Yeah.
of it leaning towards any particular way.
Yeah. So, Glow, as a fan of Manchester United, a couple of quick fire questions for fun here. Okay, real quick. Who would you keep? If you had to keep one, Pogba or Fernandes, who would you keep?
I don't want to choose between my favorite children. That just seems very unfair. But no, I don't like this
If you
question.
had to.
Well, it really depends, right, on what I'm building to. They offer like drastically, they complement each other, but they offer very different things. Like obviously, you have Fernandez, who's in the short time he's been at the club, seems to like be a leader, like the person who will put the team morale on his back, and like
Yes.
that's the he thrives on that pressure. He was doing that at Sporting, and it's just like it's been a seamless transition. But in terms of Pogba, like the pure skill is absolutely undeniable. But for both of them, I think they can't just be alone. They need to be surrounded by quality players. This is all to say that I don't like this question and I don't want to choose. So
Well, maybe you could think about the memes, right? Because you either will have ongoing memes with like Pogba's hairstyles, which are always changing, and some are brilliant, maybe some are not so much, or the ongoing images of Bruno sipping his like, what is it, like a quart of milk, a glass bottle of milk on the sidelines as he's been
it
subbed
was
off. It's
actually a
hilarious.
protein shake, and it just
Oh,
looks
was
like
it? Okay.
and he just looked like it's just like I just want some milk. It's like somebody give this
Yeah,
child
he's just
some
chugging
milk.
his milk. You know,
He's a
like just
growing
no big
boy.
deal. Just put in
Yeah.
2 goals and assists or whatever he had there, subbed him out 60th
He's
minute,
done
and just drinking his
wonders
milk.
for my fantasy league.
Yeah.
Amazing. Please,
Oh,
yeah.
I had the I can't believe it. I didn't take him in because I'm chasing my mini league reader in my cash league, and my buddy got him, and so I was like, well, I have to hope my differentials pay off. But Bruno just keeps producing for him. It's killing me.
Yeah, he really is coming through my league. I've like moved up in the wild. Oh, fantasy, that is.
That's awesome. Good on you. So you kept him, in your draft league.
Yeah, I got him as soon as we did. I have this problem with fantasy where so this is the first time that I've played this season, and I have this habit that I will pick up players that I know will be getting minutes, but I will pick them up like 3 to 4 weeks in advance. But like fantasy rewards like
Thinking ahead.
immediate results. So I have like two. My
Yeah,
long
it
term
does.
vision is significantly better than my short term when it comes to
Yeah,
fantasy.
sometimes you
So I
just
need
got
to
to jump
tweak
on who's
that, and then
hot
I'm
right
gonna win
now.
this next round. Yeah, you gotta jump on who's hot right now. So, for instance, I had like Mason Greenwood, like when he was starting to get minutes, I was like, okay, I need to see what all ace is in him. But he
Right.
like obviously didn't pay dividends until like a couple weeks down the line. At which point I was like, okay, I need to drop you, my dude. And then my friend picked him up, and now he's rocking in goals. Basically, I just wanted to complain about that too.
Yeah. No, no, fair enough. Hey, I know I'm not going to win my league this year. If my buddy Gord is listening, I mean, everything he touches is turned to gold this week. Conveniently, doesn't make any subs this week. He's like, oh, I didn't have time, and he just randomly starts Saka against like the awesome informed defense of Wolverhampton, and he scores a goal and gets like maximum bonus or whatever, and he gets 10 points. I'm like, are you kidding me? You started him against Wolves and benched him the week prior against Norwich. But anyway, he
Yep.
seems to have a crystal ball and plan these things ahead.
Yeah, honestly, please, if you're selling crystal balls, please let us know. We would like to know.
I want it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Awesome. So, okay, so any favorite kits over the years?
For someone who loves clothing as much as I do, I feel like I should have a more firm answer. But I will say that I always enjoyed a lot of the Aeon kits that they put out.
Yes.
But of the older ones, like the one I'm particularly attached to is like the Ambro Sharp ViewCam ones. And I think it's from like 94, 95,
Classic.
roughly. And it's like really good. I have like it in like a massive size, obviously, but so it's greatly comfortable, and yeah, and I miss the days. I miss how funny it looks when like footballers tuck in their shirts now, and it just.
Oh, I know.
I saw this like this highlight of like Karim Benzema. I don't know who Madrid were playing this or last weekend, and it has his like shirt tucked in, and I'm just like, you look like a dork. It's awesome.
That's awesome. I had an old Scottish coach as a kid growing up in youth football, and he would always say, tuck in the laundry, or like, terrible Scottish accent, but you know what I'm trying to say. Tuck in the laundry, lads. And so ever since then, I cannot play football without tucking in the laundry. It's just been ingrained in me. So I'm one of those old school players, I guess.
Yeah, it just looks so funny, and they all look like they work at Best
It
Buy,
does.
which is so funny in my head. But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
but no strong feelings,
So for
but definitely have a preference for the 94-95 kit.
so for this season, Glow, what's going to be a success? I mean, there's not much left of it. Top four, is that what would be a mark of success? I mean, what are you guys hoping for this year?
I think that's accurate. Yeah, I think for like menu generally, I would say top four should be like a really good goal for this season. It should be achievable, and I think we should feel disappointed if we can't hit that. I think that we're within like 1 to 2 points of Chelsea and Leicester, so like we need to keep a good form running, and obviously a little bit of luck because you need that. And I think we can like go far, if not win the Europa League. I think that should be achievable, and then we'll see how the cup turns out. But I would
Yeah,
say
absolutely.
at least my preference would be Champions League football. Securing Champions League football for next season should definitely be a win.
Yeah, I think you're right there, and obviously it gives more incentive for them to keep all their players and whatnot.
Exactly.
That's great. Okay, and the last one here. So, if next season comes about, what would you take? Would you take the Champions League title or the English Premier League title if you had to choose one?
I would actually pick the Prem personally.
Okay.
I mean, a deep run in the Champions League is wonderful, and the Champions League is like great for like an international market. There's a lot of money to be made, but I think it's been like since 12-13 since we won the league, and I think it would be like really wonderful, especially after like everything that's happened, to like win something that's local to like all those fans that are based in England. I don't know. I think it would be a great announcement of the dominance. I am not willing to say that that's even plausible because whilst I'm excited about the team starting 11, there's a very blatant lack of depth in that team. Like, I mean, there's
Yeah.
no answer. Like, what if Juan Bissaka gets injured? What if, what
Who's
if
your right
Bruno?
back? Exactly.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
if Bruno Fernandez gets injured? Like, there's not an enough depth for me to even feel comfortable posing that. So depending on what we do in the summer, I would say I would like to at least be in the conversation would be a win. But I don't think
Yeah,
like we can
that's
really
huge.
challenge for another season or two.
Sounds like exactly. You really want to solidify yourselves domestically again. Yeah. And so, what's going to happen with Alexis Sanchez? I mean, is he going to return? Do you actually think he's going to stay in Inter? I mean, can they afford it?
I mean, if Antonio Conte got my letter, then he's going to stay at Inter. But
That's awesome.
assuming he didn't get my letter, asking him to please keep him, I think it's plausible that the current arrangement is extended, which would be a loan and menu covering a part of his wages. I just don't see where he would fit in were he to return. So, and I also
Hmm.
can't see where on his wages he could be sold to. So, at least in my mind, the best outcome there would be a loan deal situation.
Yeah, that probably makes sense, right? They just keep him for another season there.
Yeah, at least until the market settles again, you know?
So Owen Hargraves, I was thinking about how we're going to cover Manchester United today, and Owen Hargraves is doing a lot of the punditry and whatnot for DAZN. It's the program that I use to watch the English Premier League, and
I see.
for those who don't, so for those who don't know him, obviously, he's a hot topic up here in Canada because he was probably one of our most successful footballers to be born in Canada. He was born in Calgary, Alberta, and he made his name in Bayern Munich. Won a bunch of titles, won a Champions League. Real successful. Kind of like a number 6, number 8. Two-way midfielder. Just broke up play. Incredible tenacity. And then Sir Alex Ferguson bought him, and he was going to be a big part of the plans for Manchester United. So I couldn't help but think about him and think about this conversation in Manchester United. And like, did you ever remember seeing him? He had like basically one solid season with you guys before he blew up his knee.
Yeah, I think he's one of those names where like I was like just watching soccer for like entertainment and he never like made enough of a mark to stay with me, unfortunately. Whereas like
Yeah.
now, like even the ones that like don't like particularly I'm not particularly keen on, I pay attention to be informed. So unfortunately, Mr. Hargreaves falls under that bucket where it's like, sounds familiar. Did I meet him at a bar? Or was
Yeah.
he on my team? Kind of.
Yeah, so he was with you guys like 2007 to 2011, but and just it's kind of that era of like I think I saw an interview with him and he described how despite your pain, you just get back out there and you keep grinding. And I guess he had some ongoing knee problems and he was getting injections into his knee and obviously he was masking the pain.
Yeah,
And
that's
by the end
really
of the season,
tricky.
like I know. So by the end of the season, like he was basically done, and before
Yeah,
even
you
the age of
really do
30.
hate
So
to see it.
it's unfortunate.
Well,
Yeah.
it seems like he's made a wonderful post-football career move with the zone. So we like to see that. At least he seems to have landed on his feet.
Yeah, he's a hot topic here because he chose to play for England instead of playing for Canada as his
Ooh.
national team. So it's controversial to say the least. I know his accent is a bit of a mix of German, Canadian, and British, but anyways, fair enough to the guy. I mean, at the time, obviously, if you have the choice to play for England or the choice to play for Canada, I mean, you're going to have probably more success, especially if you're in the starting 11 conversation for England. That's massive
Yeah.
for him. So. Some ways I
Yeah.
can't blame him, but yeah, we're always a little bit choked up here that he didn't stay true to his roots.
Yeah, he's also part English, so those are technically also his roots, is always my response to this.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
But
Yeah.
well, it's been lovely talking, Menu. I mean, this is most of my day, and I just really cannot complain much. But we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back with some sideline asides. Welcome back to Sideline the Sides. This is a segment on our show where we generally talk nonsense or go off on tangents. It's delightful, we love it, and we hope you do too. So for today, we are discussing the summer transfer window that has not yet opened. Who knows when it will officially open? But Dan, and I ask you, which summer signing would you like to see happen? And you could take it based off the team that you support, or just generally, what's a signing that
Totally.
you'd really like to see happen?
I mean, we'd all love to see, I'm sure, some great signing. But for those who know, I mean, I'm a huge Sunderland supporter, and you know the heartbreak of losing Josh Maja,
Ugh,
in the Netflix series, of course, shows that. I would just love for the lad to return to us, start banging in the goals again for us, be our future star. He's still so young. I think he's only 20 now, and just climb the ranks again, and he could be our striker. Starting number nine up front, and we could just climb the ladder back to the championship, then back to the English Premier League with him at the front. I mean, that would just be brilliant. I'd love
yeah.
that.
How has he fared in Liga?
Great question. I mean, he made the jump from League One in England up to League One in France. So good on him for that. But mostly getting a lot of substitute appearances before COVID all shut everything down. But he was scoring, like he was doing pretty well, and a lot of late substitution appearances, the odd cup game, that sort of thing. So like right now, with regard to his team Bordeaux, he's got 6 goals, 2 assists, and 21 appearances. So, I mean, heck, that's not bad for a young 19-year-old who's just making his way into a new country, a new league. But, of course, as we all know, Liga actually canceled the season. So we'll look forward to seeing how he does next year.
Yeah, well, he seemed like a really good talent with the little that I've seen of him, which is mostly via Sunderland and some highlight reels. So I hope that your wish comes true. But I still wish him the best of luck. I think that would be delightful.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you'll
How about
deserve it.
yourself? Who should you guys sign?
Honestly, I'm a little bit torn. I think that a good what we actually need is a backup number 10 and someone more solid in defense. But I can't think of like a comparable like backup to Bruno Fernandes who will like be happy to like sit on the bench more often than not, but will be that good as well. So I've gone for the
Yes.
defense route because I have a few more ideas of that. It looks like there's a little bit rumor around Koulibaly that Napoli could be letting him go, could be more open to letting him go. I think they are realizing that the 150 they asked last summer is just
Phenomenal
gonna
player.
be a no go. Or on the younger route, I I hesitate a little bit because though I'm really a great fan of Upamecano, brilliant. I think
Hmm.
he's like really brilliant. I think he's quite promising in the future. I am not sure if he's like how he would fare as a consistent starter in the Prem. So perhaps Koulibaly or someone in the middle, although I'm a big fan of Upamecano in terms of like nurturing young talent that could have like a really great future. I think
Absolutely.
he has all the building blocks, I would say.
Well, it kind of match with how young your squad is now too, right? And how they could all
Exactly.
gel and grow together.
Yeah, I really like Axel Twanzebe, who is one of the academy products and like is like quite promising as well. But then I think those are people who need like those like 1 to 2 more seasons and more playing time, which would be quite lovely to see that talent come
Well,
up.
just just write another couple letters. Hey, you can write one to Napoli. You can write one to Bordeaux for me, and we'll make
Yeah,
those signings happen.
exactly. The other one will be addressed to Kara and it's like, hey, I know no one's told you this before, but could you do it? Just,
Love
I
it.
want to write them a letter. But yeah, we'll see. I'll let you know how my letter writing ventures go. uh,
Sounds good. That's awesome. Well, this has been a lot of fun, Glow, to kind of hear a little bit more of your backstory about being a Man U fan and an international fan. And I think you've proven to me, not that you needed to, but clearly you know your stuff about the club. And it's great to hear, how that passion of your uncle, I think you said it was, just how it rubbed off on you and how growing up in that passion was contagious and developed a supporter in you, and hopefully you'll be able to get back to Old Trafford not too distant future and watch another match, eh?
Well, they renewed my membership today, so you better be soon. Otherwise, I need a refund, please and thank you.
That's awesome.
That's
But
another
you
letter I need
became
to
like an
write.
official.
That's another letter I need to
You
write.
be,
Please give me my money back if I can make it.
that's awesome. So you became like an official member of the supporters or something?
So in order to like have access to like actual good tickets at a decent price, you need to have like an official like membership.
Right.
But I'm not going to buy season
Brilliant.
tickets, obviously, because I don't live in the UK. So that's like the next best thing for international fans, because anytime you're in the UK, which is a decent amount, you can go buy tickets to a game without relying on like the stub hubs and all that.
Oh, that's brilliant. Good for
Yeah.
you.
Well, this has been lovely, Dan. I'm excited to have you back on the pod, and we'll see you soon. Please do rate our podcast and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We're at Football Asides, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks. Guess what?